Oh, hey, how you doing? I thought after 26 videos on the Mondovi branch, it might be time for me to introduce myself. So hi, my name is Paul August, and this is my layout, and I thought I'd give you a little bio. This is a Chicago Northwestern branch line, and I grew up in Chicago, where the railroad was headquartered. And I got interested in the Chicago Northwestern Railroad very young. I had a great grandfather who worked for 50 years at the 40th Street shops, and his son, my great uncle, worked there and retired in about 1970. And we always vacationed in northern Wisconsin, so we always saw the Northwestern and the Sioux Line and the Milwaukee Road all the time. And then I moved to Wisconsin. So when I was a kid living in Chicago, my father and my great uncle had a large U-shaped layout in the basement. It was an inverted dog bone, I think you would call it. Not much for scenery, hard shell plaster painted with greenhouse paint, that kind of stuff, sawdust, but that was the 50s. But it was all hand-laid track, and it was all brass steam locomotives. So we used to go down to the basement and watch them run the train, which got us interested. In addition, they had a large stereo hi-fi in the living room, and my great uncle had a great collection of steam locomotive LPs. And whenever the family was together, inevitably, after a few Manhattans, the LPs would come out and we'd have steam locomotives running through our living room. When my parents decided to leave Chicago and move to the suburbs, my great uncle offered to buy out my dad's half of the layout as long as he took the money with him and built a new layout. So in the house out in Niles, Illinois, where I grew up, my father built about a 12-foot by 24-foot layout. It was a spaghetti bowl of track. The kind you had to walk under the layout, and there was 3 holes to stand in to run the layout in different sections. All hand-laid track again. His brass steam locomotives. Not much scenery. In the early 70s, he started buying me and my 2 brothers blue box kits to build for our birthdays and holidays. Campbell scale model Craftsman kits, and we would build those and put them on the layout. I have a Brett's Brewery somewhere over there that my younger brother built in about 1975. So all this stuff kind of went with my parents when they moved to northern Wisconsin in the 80s. I built a layout up in my house in Milwaukee after I moved there. Didn't go very far. In my next house, I built a little better one. Not bad, but never finished it. The last house I lived in, I had an oval, large oval in a basement room that I had started. But then I moved here to Pittsburgh, and this is really my first, I would call, serious attempt at a layout. So since it's March 2023, I thought I'd introduce myself now and then give us a layout tour. So thanks for coming by and walk with me. I'll give you a tour. Okay, so since the last tour in February, I installed the fascia on the Mondovi side of the layout. And then I started with the extensions. So there's a 8-foot extension across the back wall with the masonite backdrop. And then there's another 12 feet down the opposite wall from Mondovi. And the backdrop is on the wall. We'll be ordering photo backdrops from Trackside Scenery sometime soon to put up to match the ones over here in Mondovi. We had to do a little construction here. My workbench was too large to fit under the layout. This is the Luke Towen design that I built off of a video on YouTube. So we cut about 5 inches off the front and 5 inches off the back, and maybe another 5 inches off each leg, and it slides right in there and works real well. A few details I've added. I built 3 pine trees here using the techniques that Boomer Diorama on YouTube has many videos on. And these are made from florist wire and stem wire, 16 gauge stem wire, 24 gauge florist wire, and then flocking. It was a first attempt. It turned out pretty good. I wanted to put them in a place where I wouldn't be reaching over, and good for photography. That's the end of the spur for the Standard Oil dealer here. I also started working a little bit on a sawmill. The Fund Brothers, that's with a P, P-F-U-N-D. The Fund Brothers had a sawmill in Mondovi. So I started out making wood piles from actual wood that I found in my backyard from my trees. And I put together the Woodland Scenics rural sawmill and started building a shed for it. This shed is actually the additional shed for the pickle station that I'm going to use over here instead. And I found this building in a box of my father's stuff from his layout. Added some signs and some details. And we'll use this as the office. And eventually this whole section here on the inside curve will be the sawmill. They made railroad ties, untreated railroad ties, shipped them out by gondolas to a creosote plant up by Superior, Wisconsin. So after the last update, I had done the bus wiring and the feeders and needed a place to put the temporary DC power. So it's on this card here, and I just pull it out a few inches when I'm running Mondovi and operating. But I have my switchless clipboard hung there now, and my uncoupling bamboo spears. Nothing big deal, but you know, make it a little easier to work on. Additionally, I painted the foam a nice brown just to get rid of the pink color. And I started wiring. So the bus wire now has been extended through into this section here, and I started this weekend putting in the terminal blocks, and we will continue that all the way down to the end so we can have power when we get to that point. Now right here in this 8-foot section, I've mentioned this before, we're gonna have a peninsula that comes straight out through the middle of the room, and it will come out 8 feet, be 36 inches wide, and then I'll have a 48-inch mushroom at the end of it as a turnaround with a view block right down the center. So when we operate out of Mondovi and we come out here, we'll do a 180-degree turn, come down the middle here, and we'll have Oliva on this side, and then on this side we'll come around the mushroom and come back on the other side will be Strum, come on this side, and then that will also have a 180-degree turn here, and then this will be the town of Osseo, Wisconsin, above my workbench. And the eventual plan then is where this ends here, coming from here straight past my Milwaukee Road calendar, to have a removable, maybe a 4-track staging yard. So I have somewhere where the trains come from and leave to, which would be Fairchild, Wisconsin. But I don't have the room for that. So thanks for coming by. That is my March 2023 layout update. Hopefully when April comes around, I'm a little farther. and we'll just keep working on it. And be sure you hit that subscribe button down there. Hit the like, and there's supposed to be a bell somewhere you can hit to get notifications, but I figure if you're subscribing, you're looking anyhow, so hit the bell if you like. Anyhow, leave a comment, say hi, and thanks for coming by. Go Northwestern. Bye.